Hello, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Hello, Steeler Nation, and welcome to the latest episode of the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate with me, your co-host, Pittsburgh Owen, speaking to you live here across the pond. So, guys, it seemed like just another quiet, boring Monday, didn't it? And then something happened. Something threw the cat amongst the pigeons. Something really did suddenly stir Steeler Nation and start to cause a great debate in Steeler Nation. Yes, he's back stealing the limelight. AB, Antonio Brown. Well, just when we thought that the whole AB thing was dead, buried, and he would never ever be mentioned in the same breath as the Pittsburgh Steelers again, he came out with this. Just want to retire a Steeler. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you are reading that correctly. AB said, just want to retire a Steeler. Oh my goodness. Twitter exploded, Steeler Nation exploded. The Steeler fans seem to be divided on this. You've got those who remember the good times with AB. You've got those who remember the bad times, the end of AB's time in Pittsburgh at the end of the 2018 season. AB went on to further qualify what he said in that just want to retire a Steeler tweet with this. He said, not play, just retire, so we clear. So he doesn't want to come back and actually play, even though some Steeler fans actually think he could do quite a decent job still at the age of 33, whereas others don't want anything to do with him. I think one of the quotes I heard was, he didn't just burn the bridges with Pittsburgh, he napalmed them. That was one of the quotes I've heard from some in Steeler Nation. So one good thing, I suppose, is AB's taken the attention off the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight, who obviously went out of the Stanley Cup playoffs to the New York Rangers. So what do we think, Steeler Nation? Could AB retire a Steeler? Should we let him sign a one-day deal and retire a Pittsburgh Steeler, like we did with San Antonio Holmes, for instance? Or do we say, no, after 2018, after what you did, after how you acted, forget it, mate. It's over. Your time with the Pittsburgh Steelers or us doing anything for you is not happening. What do we do? Do we remember the good times of AB? Do we remember the bad times of AB? That's the question. There were so many good times, wasn't there? Between that 2010, 2018, AB, a sixth-round pick out of Central Michigan. You know, a guy who's a sixth-round pick who became one of the best wide receivers in Pittsburgh Steelers franchise history. I know that might seem like sacrilege to some to say that, but he was one of the greatest Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers. One of the best wide receivers in the NFL of all time, possibly two. Maybe a future Hall of Famer, who knows? Or maybe the actions that he's taken since then and the way he's behaved on the field and off the field will rule him out of Hall of Fame contention. I mean, certainly, if you look back at his time with the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2014 and 2017, he was NFL receiving yards leader. 2014, 20 and 2015, he was receptions leader. 2018, he was touchdowns leader. In his career, AB caught 928 passes for 12,291 yards. He also rushed for 128 yards and returned for 2,934 yards with a total of 88 career touchdowns. Well, yeah, I know it got messy, didn't it? It got really messy at the end of his time in Pittsburgh. And people forget, I suppose, the 837 passes he caught for 11,207 yards and 74 TDs. People forget the stats that he racked up in Pittsburgh. There are the guy's stats. You know, some pretty impressive stats there from the 2011 season on. 16 games, 13 games played, 16, 16, 16, 15, and so on. His yards totals, you know, that first season, obviously 2010, that was impressive, but 2011, 1,108. 2012, we saw a down in playing production. Then the rest of the time, over 1,000 yards receiving every single season. His touchdown production as well, you know, going from single figures to double figures pretty much every season. Great yards per catch as well. Some great times. You know, he was Ben's go-to guy, wasn't he? He was the receiver that Ben turned to on most occasions to throw the ball to when we needed the big play to come out. The way he dodged defenders, the way he ran away from defenders, the way he played the game was pretty impressive. He was part of that Killer Bees team, wasn't he? Of, you know, Ben, Bell, Brown, and I include Boz in that, the biggest unsung hero of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That immaculate extension against Baltimore to win us the division. A fantastic catch, battling those three Ravens, hanging on to him to extend his arms out to score that touchdown. They're the good times, the great things. You know, the fantastic high point catches. The Kansas City game where the ball seemed to deflect off a couple of Kansas City Chiefs and found him, and he ran then down the field and scored that touchdown. Fantastic play. There's so many things I could go on about. I could talk all night about AB and how he played and the receptions and things like that, but we're not here to talk about that now. We're here to talk about, could he really retire a Pittsburgh Steeler? Or did the events of 2018 just rule it out completely? The end of that 2018 season really got messy, didn't it, between AB and the Steelers? He criticised the Pittsburgh Steelers organization that had looked after him so well on numerous occasions. It's felt that, Mike Tomlin is the only coach really who's ever been able to handle Antonio Brown. It even came up in the 2020 offseason when Brown was released by the Patriots, and Mike Tomlin was asked about whether AB could return and play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tomlin was quoted as saying the following. He said, I'll say this once a Steeler, always a Steeler, Tomlin said on First Take. We had great success over the course of 9+ years with Antonio. We're always going to be interested in his growth and development as a man, and we'll be open to assisting him in that. But we have no current business interest at this time. But it was interesting, his faith's still there and his interest still there in AB. Like I said, many feel that Tomlin was the only man who could ever really control AB, get the best out of him. Bruce Arians seemingly failed. Even Bill Belichick failed to get the best out of AB. It was only Mike Tomlin, showing what a great coach, a great motivator, a great leader Mike Tomlin is. But that end of 2018 season when he criticised the Steelers was, bang out of order. It seemingly came from an argument he had with Ben Roethlisberger. From the argument, he then failed to show up for practice and was suspended for the season finale. He argued against the role he was being used in by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it seemed that then he said he would no longer play for the Pittsburgh Steelers and demanded a trade away. Or demanded he would never play and just leave. Fortunately, Kevin Colbert got a 3rd and a 5th from the Raiders, who again, he never played for. It seems after that day that Antonio never really lived back up to the promise that he'd showed as a Pittsburgh Steeler, did he? He's always been a bit, crazy, I think is the word, since the 2018 season. Many people feel that hit by Vontaze Burfict on him caused some permanent damage to his mental health and to his mental state. Maybe that is the case. We've really got to weigh up, I think, in response to this tweet, in response to the division now causing Steeler Nation. I've talked to some Steeler fans tonight, and some are dead set against it. And like I said, saying that he napalmed the Bridges, he didn't just burn them down. Others have said they would quite happily have AB back. Others have said they would even want him to come back and play for a year. He would be a good leader for the young receivers that we've got. Sign him for 1 year for a vet minimum deal. They'd happily have him. It seems that's a massive division out there, isn't there? What do you think? Drop me a comment below. Would you let AB retire a Steeler? Would you give him a 1-year contract? A 1-day contract and let him finish his career at Pittsburgh Steeler, where he started it and where arguably he had his most impressive time in the NFL. Well, I know he won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, but those years between 2010 and 2018 that he spent with the Pittsburgh Steelers were by far his most productive. All those All-Pro achievements, all those things, 4 times first team All-Pro, 7 times Pro Bowler in those 9 years he was with the Steelers were incredible. That's perhaps what we need to look back on rather than that craziness. Personally, I think we should let bygones be bygones, and maybe, just maybe, this is Antonio trying to mend the bridges that he's burned, trying to apologize for his behavior and come back and show that the franchise that mattered most to him, and the franchise that was most important to him, the franchise that gave him his start in the NFL, is where he wants to end his career, to say thank you to the fans, to say thank you to Steeler Nation, and in particular, say thank you to Mike Tomlin for those golden years that he had in Pittsburgh. Well, that's my opinion anyway, for what it's worth. Well, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you're still watching this, remember, Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate, your best, new, freshest Pittsburgh Steelers channel on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and come and join the Steelers Syndicate revolution. Thanks for listening, guys. And let's finish this, as we always finish this, with, here we go, Steelers. Come on.